Hello. So this is the loop, and this is Bear. Come on, Mary. Thank you.
You being loopy.
And this is Bruce. The loop is really soft and stretchy, and it's about 2 feet.
And sexy.
It is sexy.
Strong, stretchy, and sexy.
What more could you want? About 6 feet long and 2 feet wide. So here is an easy way to get into it. I'm going to sit down and do these, just kind of some basic stuff you can do with the loop kind of not exercises. And Bruce is going to do, well, we never really know what Bruce is going to do.
Not today.
But we think that Bruce is going to just do some adaptations from a seated position because the variations for this sort of thing are endless, frankly. So anyway, I got this from my sister, Aruna. I like to find the seam of this on my right hand. And then I take it over my shoulders and around my shoulders like a shawl. Then you can put your feet in and start to press out and bring yourself back in again. So that you're just very easily bending your knees and curling in and then exhaling and stretching out. Just like you're getting up in the morning and you can lean back a little bit and cross over one arm, cross over another arm. Just take it nice and easy, nothing heroic, no calisthenics. You're a cat. You're a creature. You're some kind of wild thing still. Inside, living in you still is that creature who is not tamed, not compliant. Oops, I'm sorry, Bear. And so this is some of the play that we can do with the loop. Maybe it takes you down, and you know what? It's going to move. It's going to come off your shoulders. It'll come off of a foot. And you just want to go with that. You want to allow that to happen. Now, one of the great things about the loop, especially after you've been doing the IKO ball for a while, is that organization of that form of the icosahedron lives in your kinesthetic awareness. It's a capacity that you have. So then you start moving in this, and the more you do, the more you realize that it's an opposition of forces moving in discontinuous compression and continuous tension. And the more that you can press out and use this as resistance, the more you build up a bioelectric charge in your fascia. And one of the 3 ways that energy moves through the fascial matrix is through bioelectric energy, the piezoelectric effect, through sound, and through biophotons. And actually the biophotonic part of it is enhanced by the piezoelectric part of it. So they work together really nicely. And when you are stretching it feels like the center is open, but in a really grounded and spiraling way. There's this deep sense of, what were we saying before, Bruce? It wasn't just integrating the core, but it's like a spiraling in the core and then an emergent spiraling out from the core.
Well, each time you do it, it's a little different. You need to watch for those traces. Because this is very fluid. So if you want to get structure to it, you can, you can actually hold on to it. You can make it much more like an IKO ball sequence. But what every place on it is another little form of resistance, and it's a resistance that makes the movement happen. And so it doesn't take much, just change the nature of the movement. I could do a roll up and just lift my fingers. And then it contracts in. And I could roll down, contract it. I could open my arms and roll myself up. I could push my arms out and dive myself over, reach into space. Right? It just takes all the movements that you can naturally do and begins to enhance them and give them shapes and forms and textures. And each time you do that, you're working a little bit harder because now that you have resistance, right? Your heart rate goes up a little bit. You're working a little bit harder. Your metabolism's increasing. You'll lose a little bit of weight, right? 1. You can make it an exercise. But it's what's helping you move and giving you the shape and the form of the movement.
And it does become a really interesting experience to really press into resistance with your legs and your arms. Because it starts to very subtly inform you about what your habitual ways are of relating to space. How do you relate to space? As the form that you are, or how you come into relationship as a being, as a fluid being.
It's the slow movement that's so luscious. Because you can open up areas where you don't tense muscles, you don't jump your curve. Each part of your curve and your arc is important, just as important as the next. Each little ray along the curve is a different position, a different pose, a different possibility, a different stretch.
There's something really interesting about the way that the doing this in the tension of this band allows me still to drop into the most subtle micro movements. And they're all, just non-linear, non-repetitive. They have a sense of pulsation to them.
Now here I've got this place in my upper back around T5 from an accident. It gets tight, but I could now go and just roll through very easily each of the vertebrae, lengthening it, stretching it, hydrating it. Feels so right.
Well, that's the thing, because this is really a self-guided thing. You're activating your deep interoception through pleasure. It starts to help things operate from a sense of deep knowing. And there's an actually very radical thing about that when you take back your body. Because you're not saying, I'm going to stand on this little mat and follow a bunch of poses that I'm being told to follow. I'm not doing a prescribed method. I'm really dropping into the exploration that's possible here. And when you do that, you find a really deep level of freedom.
I mean, one of the main differences between this and the IKO ball is the IKO ball holds you in a structure, so it's going to help you build meridians of strength along those structures. Here, the structures are just the elasticity, and the IKO ball is automatically going to stretch out and pull in. Well, here you get to use your hands and your arms to be sort of like what a strut is. Like my arm is the strut of the IKO ball now, so I have so many different more variations. It's just not as geometric per se, and as strong in that. It's not as much elasticity built up because it's much stronger. But boy, oh boy, this is it. This feels so languid and supportive. You're supported everywhere. And ultimately, you know, it's like a little cocoon. You could just kind of, and when you're in a cocoon, you're encased and you feel safe because you could feel all your boundaries there. And that's a wonderful thing too.
Yes, cocooning in the loop is a truly great experience. Oh. And I like to do it with my legs straight. You can do it with your knees bent. But since my legs are straight, I'm going to start by adding into this a little heel rock, just the tiniest movement. See what the wave through the spine is saying now. And then I'm just going to stop and listen. And now I'm starting to get deep feedback, interoceptive feedback. Little memories, little flashes of things, little knowings that are like little flashes of biophotonic awakenings. Boom, boom. Like a lightning bug. And that's another way that energy moves through your fascial web, through that living matrix. You have the intro to the loop. Have fun playing.